onion softened in the pan. You set 2 plates beside the stove. I was talking about the rent. You were folding Monday clothes. At 9:14 my phone began to travel on the wood. My sister said Mom fell at home. They had taken her in. She gave the warden entrance, said bring her coat and shoes. I heard each word she gave me, then forgot where I kept the keys. Dinner waited through the coal, steam thinning above the table. Dinner waited through the coal while you turned the burner down. I stood holding 3 instructions like they weighed more than they should. Nothing in the room had changed yet. Dinner waited through the coal. You found my charger in the drawer, filled a bottle from the sink. You asked which coat she needed. I said the blue one, I think. You wrapped the bread and cleared the plates, then placed my shoes beside me. I kept reading the same directions while you moved the night around. Dinner waited through the coal. The kitchen light stayed steady. Dinner waited through the coal while neither one felt ready. You wrote the entrance on my hand and checked the petrol twice. Nothing in our life had ended, but nothing stayed the same. Would announce itself with sirens at the door. Instead, responsibility entered as your hand turned off the stove. No vow prepared us for it, no promise told us how. You only held my blue coat open and said, we should leave now. Dinner waited through the call, 2 plates cooling on the table. Dinner waited through the call while you made my hands feel able. I took the phone and hospital note. You carried what I could not. We left the kitchen light still burning. Dinner waited through the coal. The onions settled in the pan. The appliance hum stayed on. We closed the door on ordinary and carried the call along. The nurse brought 1 thin blanket and asked what Mom could wear. I pictured every crowded hook, then lost the hallway there. You stood before the lift doors with my keys inside your hand. I said, bring her blue coat. You said you understood. Bring her blue coat, the one beside the stairs. Bring her blue coat, she feels the cold in there. The button leans a little, the right hand pocket tears. I did not have to tell you twice. Bring her blue coat. You had seen it every Sunday when she came at 3:30. Peppermints inside one pocket, bus receipts beneath the seam. She always kept it fastened, even when the room was warm. You learned its weight from taking it and placing it by the door. Before we knew the medicine, the forms or ward routines, before her name became a number on a folder by the screen, you knew the code before the work from ordinary afternoons. Love had learned the small details before responsibility moved in. You brought her blue coat, folded carefully across your arms. You brought her blue coat, with the peppermint still there. She touched the leaning button, then rested in her chair. I let you place it round her shoulders, because you knew where. Bring her blue coat, the one beside the stairs. A simple thing from yesterday had followed us in there. I thought the family weight was mine before you chose to share. You brought her blue coat and stayed beside the chair. The corridor kept humming, the lift returned once more. The cornet released a falling third. The blue coat held her warm. You were folding my blue shirt, wrong side out across your knee. I was counting cups and spoons and saying we should go to sleep. The kettle clicked, the hallway cooled, your glasses waited by the bed. Nothing in that little room looked like a life about to bend. 3 rings after midnight, and the room forgot its name. 3 rings after midnight, nothing small stayed quite the same. You left one sleeve still folded, I left water in the light. We were ordinary people. 3 rings after midnight. Before I put the receiver down, you set 2 coats beside the door. You found the charger, filled a flask, and checked the fuel without a word. I thought that care began with fear, with doctors' forms and medicine, but you had practiced it for years in every quiet thing you did. 3 rings after midnight, and the week came back rearranged. 3 rings after midnight, nothing ordinary stayed. Your hands remained on small things while mine shook beneath the light. We were more than what had happened. 3 rings after midnight. You were folding tomorrow before tomorrow changed. I never called it devotion because it looked too plain. No roses on the table, no sentence built to last, just one shirt half finished when the ordinary passed. 3 rings after midnight, and the room regained its name. 3 rings after midnight. You made order out of fear. You carried coats and water. I carried what I heard. We stepped beyond the hallway without needing bigger words. 3 rings after midnight. The blue sleeve waited in the light. 3 rings after midnight, and you stayed throughout the night. I had mistaken quiet love for something incomplete. Then responsibility arrived and found you next to me. The shirt remained half folded, one sleeve against the floor. The viola held 3 quiet notes. The bellows emptied once more. We brought her home on Sunday with instructions in a sleeve. By 7 Monday morning, there were times for everything. You found a worn black magnet. I drew 7 crooked lines, tablets, meals, and blood pressure with our initials down the side. I wrote the clinic number. You checked the dosage twice. Monday became a schedule held beneath a worn black magnet. Monday became a schedule. Every hour learned a task. Medicine at 8 and midnight. Bloods on Wednesday, clinic 4. We stopped asking how we slept. Monday became a schedule. You moved your meeting after lunch. I called the pharmacy again. You wrote your name beside the washing. I placed mine beside her meals. The phone alarms repeated what the paper passed each other through the kitchen, checking what was left to do. Monday became a schedule. Tuesday filled before it started. Wednesday waited in a folder. Thursday changed before the call. Every box received an answer. Every task received a name. We kept her weak from falling, while our own became the same. You knew when she needed water. I knew which tablet could be split. We knew the parking entrance and the chair where she could sit. We kept every hour between us and misplaced ourselves in it. Monday became a schedule. Still the paper held us steady. Your initial stood beside mine when neither one felt ready. The refrigerator kept humming. The marker stained my hand. Monday became a schedule, and we followed what we planned. One empty box stayed open at the bottom of the page. The bass clarinet left one note unfinished before we turned the day. At 6 I filled the kettle. You read the dosage twice. I asked if you had seen the washing. You answered Clinic 5. You opened silver packaging. I found the parking card. 2 cups stood near the medicine, still steaming in the dark. Coffee went untouched, while we remembered every dose. Coffee went untouched, while the early traffic rose. We knew the ward and entrance, the number we should call. We could keep her morning moving. Coffee went untouched. You asked who could take Thursday. I said I moved my shift. I asked if you were angry. You said the blue bag needs a zip. You checked the folded paperwork. I counted what remained. We answered different questions as if they were the same. Coffee went untouched. The steam had left the glass. Coffee went untouched, while another hour passed. You knew which pills were morning. I knew which forms to bring. We had become so useful, we could not finish anything. I reached across to touch your wrist. the tablets there. Our unfinished sentence waited beside the empty chair. Coffee went untouched, cold circles on the table. Coffee went untouched, though both of us were able to keep each time and dosage to make the morning run. We could carry every duty and still misplace someone. Coffee went untouched, you lifted both cups late. The question stayed between us while we hurried to the gate. The cello held the answer, the organ left it rough. We remembered every dose. Coffee went untouched. Till you asked if I could drive, I said I worked at 7. You said you had already missed 2 mornings since this started. The sink was full of medicine cups, my hands were split and dry. I heard blame inside your tired voice, though you had asked me none. The phone lit up between us, I wanted it to stop. I wanted 1 hour when no one needed me. No phone against the table, no list beside the sink. I wanted 1 hour and hated what that meant. You looked more tired than I was, still I wanted it. You said you would take morning, I said that was not fair. You showed the days already missing from the calendar at work. I told you not to rescue me, you said you needed sleep. We stood beneath the refrigerator light, too worn to disagree. I wanted 1 hour without a name to answer. No ward, no work, no pharmacy, no one asking after. I wanted 1 hour that made you carry blame for standing in the kitchen and trying to do the same. The hardest thought was not that Mom might need us longer than we knew. It was the part of me that counted what her needing took from you, and counted what it took from me, and wanted something back. I made your tired kindness sound like one more thing to carry. I needed 1 hour, I should have said it clean. No accusation in my voice, no anger in between. I needed 1 hour, you needed 1 too. The phone remained beside us, the morning still came through. I wanted 1 hour, the warning did not leave. We did not solve the tiredness or promise easy sleep. You placed the keys between us, I moved the list aside For one unfinished minute, we sat there side by side. The work alarm began at 5. The refrigerator hummed. One cello piece occurred unanswered. The hour never came. At 9:30, my brother called and said he could not come. His youngest had a fever. The final bus had gone. I looked across the kitchen at the column marked tonight. Your name was crossed for early work. Mine waited blank beside it. You reached to change the names around. I covered up the page. Tonight fell to me like keys placed in my hand. Tonight fell to me before I chose or planned. The medicine, the hallway, the chair beside her bed. You offered me your morning. Tonight fell to me instead. At 11, Mom was restless. She asked what day had gone. I changed the water by her chair and left the hallway on. You called once from the kitchen. I heard the tide in your breath. I said the night was quiet and told you to get rest. Tonight fell to me, but not because you turned away. Tonight fell to me because you had carried yesterday. Your work alarm was waiting 3 hours beyond the dark. I took the phone and medicine and stayed beside her chair. I did not feel prepared. I only saw your shaking hands and knew the load was shared. Some sacrifices enter without a noble sound. One tired person stays awake so one can lie back down. Tonight fell to me. The clock moved through the room. Tonight fell to me. Past 1, past 3, past 2. I wrote the dosage clearly. You slept before your shift. The night was still too heavy, but I chose where it would sit. Tonight fell to me, and morning found us warm. You brought 2 cups of water before the day was warm. We did not call it balance or say the weight was gone. Tonight fell to me, and both of us moved on. You fell asleep above the list, your glasses in your hand. Wednesday waited by your name, with 3 tasks underneath. I was still angry from the morning, still counting what was fair, and saw the mark the table left across your tired face. I moved the magnet from your square and wrote my name in blue. I took your shift, moved my name into the space. I took your shift, you said that was not fair. I was still angry from the morning, you were too tired to resist. We did not call it balance. I took your shift. The pharmacy closed early, the clinic changed the time. I packed the forms and water, you checked the list behind me. You tried to find your car keys, I placed them in the drawer, then told you sleep was also work we had not counted before. I took your shift, not because the debt was mine. I took your shift because your hands had lost their time. You had carried 3 long mornings, I had named each one unfair. Then I moved my name to Wednesday and left yours empty there. Care is not a ledger, still we kept one on the door. Every kindness had a number, every number asked for more. We divided all the duties, then learned division could not prove which person had been carrying the part no list could show. I took your shift, you folded back the sheet. I took your shift, you slept before I had to leave. Nothing had been settled, the chart remained unfinished. We were learning how to help before resentment chose the terms. My name dried in the blue ink, your glasses stayed beside it. One bass clarinet note remained after the cello stopped. The caseworker came on Thursday with a folder and a pen. She asked about the staircase and how much Mom could stand. She asked how long we both had slept and who could come at night. I said we had it covered while I missed the signing line. You turned the paper back to me and kept your fingers there. We signed the forms where the paper asked for names. We signed the forms in the boxes marked for care. My hand missed the line twice. You held the page in place. We signed the forms, and I said I was okay. There was a box for lifting, a box for meals and sleep, a line for outside helpers and hours we could keep. The question marked exhaustion waited halfway down the page. I checked the answer beside no, then asked about the dates. We signed the forms, you printed both our numbers. We signed the forms while the room grew even smaller. The caseworker closed her folder and said they would review. I gathered all the copies, then forgot which one was blue. The form had room for symptoms, for tablets, falls and stairs. It had a line for every risk and every kind of care. It did not have a box to mark the things the helpers hide. I checked, no beside, exhausted while you watched me from the side. We signed the forms, my name leaned through the line. We signed the forms, your hand stayed under mine. I said that I was managing, you did not call it true. You placed the copies in my bag and carried that one too. The pen remained uncapped, one question stayed ignored. The viola held the tired note after we signed the forms. The chart beneath the black magnet had your hand next to mine. Your column held the mornings, mine carried through the night. The washing had an initial, the pharmacy had two. Every task that entered home was written there in blue. We had stopped saying love aloud and started showing where it went. The work between us was written into hands. The work between us was medicine and plans. Your column held the mornings, mine carried through the night. The work between us was how we stayed beside her. Some days I read your column as proof you had done less. Some days you crossed my name out when I had missed my rest. We counted hours badly, We spoke in tasks and times, still every empty square was filled by one of our two names. The work between us was not divided clean. The work between us had hours no one could see. Your hands repaired the blue coat, mine sorted every dose. The work between us was heavier up close. I thought love lived in feeling, until feeling had no strength. Then you washed the cups at midnight, while I changed the dates again. No speech could make us rested, no promise made it fair. But love had found another shape in doing what was there. The work between us was not a wall or debt. The work between us was choosing what came next. Your column met my column, where the paper had been torn. The work between us kept moving every morning. The work between us still asked for more than two. The work between us was more than we could do. We did not solve the burden or make the future clear. We only left both names there and kept the magnet near. The refrigerator kept humming, the blue ink marked our hands. One dry piano chord remained beneath the unfinished plan. The woman from assessment said the stairs were now too steep. Mom argued from the doorway, then sat down while speaking. We came to pack 1 week of clothes, a cardigan and shoes. You opened up the bedroom chest and 30 years came loose. 30 years in drawers would not fit into boxes. 30 years in drawers kept catching on our hands. Birthday cards and sewing thread, her good dress wrapped in paper. We thought the work was temporary, then 30 years came loose. Receipts from shops long vanished, 3 buttons in a tin. My father's silver cufflinks, she had never given in. You asked which things were needed, I said we could decide. Then folded the same cardigan and placed it back inside. 30 years in drawers, every handle held a season. 30 years in drawers, every object had a reason. The boxes lined the hallway, the wardrobe stayed half full. We had come for 7 days, then 30 years came loose. The discharge paper stated she was not safe alone. The spare room needed clearing before they sent her home. We had planned 1 week of helping, one schedule on the door. Then responsibility became 30 years in drawers. 30 years in drawers we carried down the landing. 30 years in drawers, no box could hold the meaning. You took the heavier card and I held the smaller things. The crisis had grown larger than the night the telephone rang. 30 years in drawers still waited in that room. We did not clear the whole life or decide what she could lose. We closed the bedroom gently and left 3 boxes near. 30 years remained there, the larger work was clear. One drawer stayed half open, the upright played 2 notes. The cello released its open fifth before the hallway closed. We moved your chair beside me, not opposite the light. The blue coat crossed the stair rail, the phone lay at my right. Mom slept beyond the hallway, 3 boxes filled her room. The list beneath the black magnet still left too much to do. I drew another column, then left the heading bare. Keep your chair close, leave the list where we can reach it. Keep your chair close when the telephone begins. We cannot make this easy, we cannot know the end. Just keep your chair close to mine when the work begins again. You wrote your name on Thursday, I placed mine beside the night. We crossed 1 task together, then argued over 5. You said the room was crowded, I said that I was fine. We heard the old impatience still moving underneath. Keep your chair close, even when my answers sharpen. Keep your chair close when your hands begin to shake. We may still count the hours and call the counting fair, but keep your chair close to mine before the list gets there. So write both names above the list and leave 2 chairs beside it. Keep your chair close. When the next call starts to ring, keep your chair close. We may still fail at smaller things. We cannot promise easy, only what our hands can do. Keep your chair close to mine, I will keep mine close to you. Keep your chair close. The blue coat waits beside us. Keep your chair close. The list remains unfinished. The burden has not lifted. The larger work is here. Still keep your chair close to mine, and we will start from there. The refrigerator kept humming. The phone stayed dark for now. 2 chairs stood close beneath the list. One open 5th rang out.